Hello Marvel Heroes fans, especially fans of Scarlet Witch. So the time has come for me to create a guide for her, and I'm really looking forward to this day. Scarlet Witch has her 52 review quite a while ago, but here's a confession. You know how it's like to anticipate something for so long, and suddenly when that happened, you're sort of like a little bit scared, not quite sure whether you should do or not, because what if Gazillion hasn't done a good job on your favorite hero. And yeah, I mean, it took me a couple of months, but I've got other things going on as well. You've seen other guides, and yeah, and recently I picked her up again, and she's really fun. She's still very much like the Scarlet Witch that I'm in love with, the build itself, the design of the hero, but a whole lot better, okay? So in this video, I'm going to talk about a couple of things about her builds, her gear, and so on, a little bit of in-game clips as well. But as always, I'd like to talk a little bit about the hero overall to see, I mean, whether you think that Scarlet Witch is your cup of tea or not. So a couple of good points about Scarlet Witch is that she is very easy to play. One of those heroes that you don't really need to do too much. You just run through your rotation and just enjoy, observe all the visual effect, and everything should be fine. She's also very strong, I would say. But I mean, she's not like the outliner kind of strong. She's in line with the recent strong heroes, which is good because Gazillion is trying to make all the heroes awesome, using probably Doctor Doom as a benchmark, because that is the very last era of the power creep. So I mean, Scarlet Witch is doing pretty well, and she's pretty durable as well. I mean, you're looking at, this is her so-called DPS gear. Usually I have two sets of gears for any hero, at least two sets. So one is I roll the health fixes, you guys know it. Another one is for crit damage rating or crit for summoner. So for Scarlet Witch, I don't need a second costume, just one costume is fine. I'm having 24,000 health, and it's really comfortable in Cosmic Patrol. Alright, so another great thing about her is that she's all about damage over time. So even if you are kiting around, even if you need to run around a little bit, you can spread your damage over time quite nicely. And she has a whole lot of fantastic crowd control, from pinning someone on the ground to really moving someone into one spot and so on, or even damaging someone as they do damage to you, kind of thing. So that is really fantastic. All right. She has two viable builds. I'm going to talk about the two builds with you in just a little bit. She has the one is more chaotic in nature, the other is more disruptive in nature. So I'll talk about those two builds. The beauty about having these two builds is that you don't need to switch gear that much. You just need to switch one gear. Unlike some other heroes, whereby once you go another build, you have to use another set of artifacts or another set of legendary. Nothing like that sort for Scarlet Witch. So that is something really good. I mean, and the two builds are, in a way, it's similar, but in a way it's a little bit different. So you can play both builds on the same day, which is like what I usually do. Alright, and she can teleport as well, very smooth teleport, and a little bit slow, not as fast as say a Nightcrawler, but there's no complaint. Any hero that can teleport to me is a good plus, except of course Vision. And then also her gameplay is very unique. Everything is leaving to chance, and especially for chaotic build, chaos build, the range of the attack can be so wide that you wonder sometimes you hit really hard and sometimes you hit really soft and so on. But that is the kind of nature, and her signature is wonderful. It eliminates everything around you. And last but not least, nowadays everybody talk about Cosmic Gate, and with her around, even if you are new players, you will have no problem. You shouldn't have any problem passing the Cosmic Gate. All right. So the next bit of the video is on the build itself. Because Scarlet Witch has two build options, so I thought let's look at the build first, and then we can look at the in-game video later, so you won't get confused when I use A versus B. Alright, so when it comes to the build, you basically can choose either between the decimation, which is more on the chaos. So every power here is tagged as chaos, most of them, if not all, yeah. And or you could use the disruption as well. Disruption is more on the other side of the equation. Alright, so So you could pick either of the two builds, and two builds are pretty similar. I would say Disruption probably has a higher potential, but that requires the enemy target to be pretty stable on one place, because you want them to be affected by all this like a disruption power to get the highest damage output. So it's great for raid because the boss doesn't move around. But for decimation, it's very exciting to play. Why is it so? Because when it comes to chaos build, true to its word meaning chaos, everything is pretty chaotic. When you hit a power, you can either hit 1 time or 5 times. The difference is a lot. When some of this power, like the Hex Sphere, you can see that it has kind of like very wide range to the power itself, and it's pretty insane because you know, the low and the high is really like you know, it's as though sometimes you miss, sometimes you don't, right? So that's one thing, and the play style between the decimation and the disruption is different. All right, so I'm going to highlight the differences and I'll let you pick which one you like it better. All right, so when it comes to the decimation, the chaos build, you always start with Beast from Beyond because that buff all your chaos power. So this one gives 20% buff to all the powers within here. Alright, so that's great stuff. In addition to it, the Chaos Rift will then debuff the enemy for another extra 10%. So that is very good as well. So that you know, all this power are laying on top of each other. And in addition, if you play the Chaos build, you have an extra resource here called the Hex Sphere Charge. So as this one charge up, you can use it and it get depleted, and as you deal chaos damage, it replenish, and it's kind of quite interesting. It has an extra kind of like resource to play with for the you know, chaos build. So I quite like chaos build on itself. All right, but you can't just rely on chaos build to deal the damage. You have to also pick up other damage over time powers from the disruption side as well. So I prefer the binding as well as the Iron Maiden. Now the binding gives me the health regen, which is pretty nice in a cosmic patrol environment. While Iron Maiden works very interesting because it debuffs the enemy so that when the enemy does damage to you, they themselves take damage as well. So it's like a thorn in some sense, all right? So that is very interesting. And also the debuff is pretty long versus the cooldown that is pretty short. So you can potentially debuff several pockets of you know, 2 pockets of enemies as they spread around, all right? So even if I use the chaos build, I pick something from here, all right? So, and when it comes to signature, you must have seen the movie as well, the Avenger Age of Ultron, Avenger 2 you know, a movie, and it's modeled after that. Everything just, I don't know whether the movie modeled after the, yeah, I think it's the comic book. Sorry, you know, it must come from a comic book as well, right? Because I haven't read the comic book on Scarlet Witch, so you know, it's kind of interesting to see the same kind of effects in the movie and in game, and of course the game comes first before that movie. So yeah, I mean, everything just disappeared. You know, it just, all the mobs just disappeared, and that's why Scarlet Witch is very nice in Cosmic Gate. And then after that, it gives you a very powerful buff. All right, depending on whether you're playing the Chaos build or Disruption build. For the Chaos build, it buffs it in such a way that everything become a maximum possibility. So instead of 1 to 5, it becomes 5 bolt always. Instead of this, like, you know, this range is always the better range. So it gives you a very nice buff duration, and within that duration, your chaos power is very awesome because it hits really, really hard. All right. In addition, it gives you extra 3 charges of Hex Sphere. So by right, if you max and min everything, you would like to empty this thing out and then use this one to replenish your thing here, so that you can do another 3 times at the maximum potential, which is very powerful. But in reality, when you do Cosmic Boss Rush, you usually don't care about all this, like, you know, by the time you empty everything out, probably you've already finished the fight. So you always start with the signature. But do pay attention to some of these words here. I know it's a mouthful, but I mean, by and large, what it means is that it just buff everything here for the nice duration, all the powers that are here. All right. So that is the disruption. So that's a chaos build. When it comes to the disruption, let me activate this part. The disruption is very steady. It doesn't have the crazy range like the chaos one. So you would like to have things like the reality implosion. They just weaken the mob, just group everything together. Very nice, you group them. Then after that, you have the binding to generate health. Iron Maiden as well. You deal damage as the enemy try to damage you, they receive damage as well. So, and then after that, there's something called the Dark Hex. So now, the Dark Hex buff all the disruption power, but you usually put them at the last because the cooldown of the Dark Hex, depending on whether you have the 3 of those debuff onto the enemy. So, and that's why the disruption is also a little bit harder to pull it off, because sometimes when the enemy move out from the zone and so on, or whatever, you can't miss it, or in any way that you miss some of these things, and it may not be the 7 seconds that you it may not be the 4-second reduction. It may just be the 8 seconds. So sometimes you get it for 8 seconds, sometimes you get it for 4 seconds. But if you manage to get it right, everything, the debuff on the same enemy, because sometimes enemy die and then so some new enemy comes in and so on. So yeah, I mean, that is something that you have to watch out for to make it a 4 seconds instead of 8 seconds. So it's a little bit of observation there. All right, and then you have this Chaos Blast, which is very standard, just single spender. But then the more disruption power you use in the last 10 seconds, stack up to 4 times, the better it becomes. So you have 1, 2, 3, 4, and that's it, right? And because you have to pick something from this side as well. So same as Chaos, you take it from disruption, take it from Chaos. I would recommend the Chaos Rift, because that will give you another extra 10% debuff. So I always start with this one first, run through my damage over time, and then do a Dark Hex to it. All right. So another thing about this one is that as you do signature, you actually reduce the cooldown to no cooldown. So I think you can fire it off every 1 or half a second. You can time it yourself. You can actually fire off for quite a number of rounds. So it buff for I think it has a 1 second. Every 1 second you can do it. But then don't forget, as you do Dark Hex, don't get overly excited. You make sure you reapply all the damage over time as well. So therefore, in theory, disruption is very, very high DPS, but in reality, you still need to take it off your eyes from here. Do some of this, like reapply of this thing. Why? Because when I put back my gear, you probably can see that this debuff actually is quite a little bit longer than the 8.2 seconds here. All right. And then what about other powers here? I mean, this is crit and brutal that you need to take, but it's a bit low, I would say, because Scarlet Witch is not that high on crit side, but that's okay. I mean, it's Scarlet Witch. And then the other thing that you'd like to consider is a few points here, because of obfuscation give you the the extra protection as well in terms of defensive stats. So it's nice to have. Okay, usually you can also create a doom onto your allies as well if you really want to do that. All right, so that is something that you could consider. And the confusion, the bewildering hacks for either build is something that I seldom use. I put one pawn there just in case there are some loose mobs around me when I play the Cosmic Patrol, and I don't want to take my eyes off on those things. I just put a hack somewhere and let them just destroy themselves. So it's quite nice to watch that. Alright, so that's the build itself. So next bit is really about the rotation before I go into the in-game video. Alright, so I'll put back my gear and then I'll come back to the rotation. So when you come to the rotation for Chaos build, you always start with the Beast from Beyond, so it looks something like that. So you always start with that, and after that you can do a Chaos Rift. Alright, so Chaos Rift something like this, alright, just somewhere in, like that. And then you can do a binding as well, so that is binding the third one. You can do Iron Maiden as well, but you can't really see the effect here. And then meanwhile you can empty all these things out, like like now it's all empty. So now it's a good time to do signature. Once you do signature, then you should go mag, and then after that, you just keep emptying all the stuff there. And whenever Iron Maiden is up, then you just dump it there. Beast from Beyond is also nice to put it there as well. So, so yeah, I mean, that is the rotation you really need. I mean, it's really, really, simple when it comes to all these things. Just make sure that you keep dropping this hex sphere down below. Don't just wait until it's maxed up and not moving anywhere, and then just keep up your damage over time. Now you could potentially min and max everything, and then after that look at, okay, so this duration is 7 seconds, this is 9 seconds, this is like another sorry, this is another like 10.2 second or 8.2 second and so on. So all these numbers are going crazy. I wish there was like a macro, like in World of Warcraft, when you apply damage over time, they will actually give you a soft countdown. So it tells you that it start with 9.3, and after that you go to like count to 0, and after that you know when to reapply again. Or you can just reapply again anytime, and then they reset the timer. So it's very neat, but this game doesn't support the kind of like help in terms of UI, which is very disappointing, because when it comes to all this damage over time, it's like all the seconds are all out of whack everywhere. How do you know then how to get the best kind of rotation? So you could work it out yourself on when to apply certain things, but I'm a lazy man, so I use the Beast from Beyond. Whenever this one is off cooldown, I reapply everything. All right, so it's like 1, 2, 3, 4. Right, so after that I just keep hitting. If I don't have another mob somewhere, I don't do Iron Maiden, and after that I start apply everything again. Right, so that's it, and after that just keep hitting, keep my hex sphere low, and after that Beast again, kind of thing. Then Iron Maiden, the last one. So that is really about playing Scarlet Witch, the Chaos build. Whenever you hit your signature, which she actually fell down onto her knees, if I remember. She do something like, man, I mean, this every time I see it, it kind of break my heart, because for those who have seen the movie, you sort of know. I'm not going to tell you a story, but you sort of know what triggered that moment. It was a really, really sad moment. So whenever she does that, I kind of like, my heart sinks a little bit. But yeah, I mean, anyway, that aside, it's not important. So observe what happened when this one happens, and after that, once you get the debuff here, then you keep hitting the boss, empty out your sphere, and after that work out your rotation. So that is very easy. That is the that's a chaos rotation. When it comes to the disruption rotation, it's also quite straightforward, but the first thing I usually do is to change my gear. So when it comes to the gear itself, it's quite interesting, because one buff the decimation power, the other buff disruption, but then they also kind of like know that you will somehow pick the other side as well. So they buff the Chaos Rift on the other side while you use one, and then and the other one is on decimation. So you have to change that to the one that did use disruption power. Now when it comes to this disruption build, you have, of course, the first thing to do is Chaos Rift, that start to do vulnerability, start to do the damage over time. Then use the Implosion, the Binding, the Iron Maiden. After that, you can do the Hex. All right, the Hex will give you the cooldown here. Then you can do another one, also 4 second cooldown. And then after that, you need to reapply all these things to benefit the instead of 7 become 3, it jumps. Right, you see this number jumps. So you see this number jump again. All right, so 7. Jump to 3, because it detects that it has another 3 kind of debuff on it. So now, how do you count the rotation again? Like the other one, I mean, you can always look at all these numbers, 9.3, this one is 10.3, 10.3, like the other one is also 10.2. So this one is 4 seconds. So I would use this one as a timer to refresh everything. So whenever on my second one, so I'll do like a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Right, just after that do another dark hex again. All right. Then after that, before they come down, I'll just reapply everything again. All right. So that is what I usually do. All right. So yeah, I mean, it's pretty straightforward. I know you can max and min all these things again. Feel free to do so if you are excel in it. But I find it a little bit tedious if I have to think through all these like seconds, and it's like moving everywhere. Yeah, I don't have the patience to do that. But if you can do that, because all these things have pretty high animation cost to it. All right, and then whenever this one come off, meaning that you can use signature, then this one become free, so you can just spam it like crazy. So these two become your main power. But don't forget, as and when this one you know, all the rest is going to fall off, then you probably want to reapply something, if so you wish, or if your timing is really good, because the other field, except I think maybe binding itself, you know, yeah, I mean, you could do everything, up to you. So what it really means is that you could, I'm going to run it through you, so you know what I'm talking about. So you're going 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? So, you know, this is the normal rotation here. I'm just getting warm up here. Then you can do another one. Then you can start with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then you can do a signature, and then just keep spamming this one. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, right? So you want to keep doing this until, you know, you won't lose the cooldown here, because what you really don't want is that once the buff of the signature come off, this will come at 8-second cooldown instead of 4 seconds. So you probably would like to reapply, because you know these are all around 8-second kind of time frame. So you kind of like can count until when this one disappear, when the red zone disappear, which you can count the number of them. Depending on your signature as well, because the buff duration matters. If you get a 50, like I am here, then of course you get a 11.2 buff. Otherwise, at 20, I think it's 8 point something. The difference is not a lot, but it's there. So how many times you can count the dark hex depends on how high your power is. But don't forget, the more important thing is that we apply some of these things so that when the dark hex, when the signature buff come off, your dark hex will still return to 4-second cooldown instead of 8. All right, so enough of build and enough rotation. I think you guys know what to do, and I'm going to just confuse you more with some of these like cosmic runs here and there. All right. So this is Scarlet Witch, and using Chaos build with Wolverine 51. So there you go. So signature 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then after that just keep hitting. Yes, just keep hitting, and that's all. Just one button. All right. So that is versus curse in cosmic setting. Okay, Cosmic Curse and Disruption build, and usually what I need to do, just lay down my my DPS, my layers, and then just keep doing the dark hex on the thing, keep spamming, man, and after that should be fine. That's it. That's all you need to do. Just in dark hex we trust. Alright, so no jump the curse. Okay, Cosmic Petrol, and let's see with her Chaos build first. Alright, just use my signature and just keep hitting like crazy. Look at the graphic effect, it's beautiful. So that's one Spider-Man clone down, and a few more to go. And one thing great about this Scarlet Witch is that of her teleport. Her teleport is very smooth. Alright, may not be the fastest compared to say Nightcrawler, but you know, I enjoy nonetheless. Just keep hitting. Look at the graphic effect. Reapply as and when required. And if we move around, so you just like reapply the dead zone as well, so as to keep the damage over time on. And I could actually potentially do the signature as well, but anyway, this boss is disappearing anyway, so there's no need to. And just a couple more to go, and what should I do? Should I tell you what, let me just switch to Disruption, right? Just let you to have a feel of what it's like for others as well. So the fun thing about Scarlet Witch is that the two builds are very fun. You can just 1, 2, 3, 4, then after that I can signature and then just spam the dark hex, alright? Then time to reapply, just pay by feel when to reapply, alright? So you want the cooldown to remain as 4 seconds, alright? So that is Disruption. It doesn't require you to play differently, although you have to swap your glove item, and that's all you need to do. And a few more mobs here and there before I can see the Spider-Man. Yeah, I mean, you know, you still need a little bit of health, although she's pretty strong. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Alright, so I just burn everything around and just keep spamming my dark hex. Alright, I suspect this one should be down even before I do all these things. Alright, so that's about it. Time to loot, profit. And 2 more clones to come. Alright, so that is just get all my loot. Alright, where's my Wolverine is dead. It's a bit too low level. I'm still trying to level my team up. There's a lot of team up going on. And the just keep the hacks, alright? So, you know, you want to keep the hacks at a 4-second time. And that's about it. Just move away from all these things. Alright, so that's it. Just keep applying the hacks. And I could use my signature again. Don't know why I don't do that. Anyway, okay, so that is done. One more to come. Alright, so what should I do? What should I do? Maybe I should just you know what? Let me just switch again, right? Just for the fun. Okay, so that is that's a chaos. Let's see where's the Spider-Man. So that is the last one, I think. Alright, so alright, man. So after I've done my signature, I just dump all my sphere onto that guys. Look at this effect. I find the chaos one is really exciting to watch. I don't know about you. Alright, so that is one thing I really like. Although it's a little bit unpredictable, because sometimes you don't know whether you're hitting 4 times or whatever times or whatnot. So that's it. No, okay. So I've got some good item, good loots here and there. So you know, my personal preference is actually chaos build, but I don't mind playing the destruction just for something change, like, you know, a change. And they are not so monotonous about the same build all the time. So Gordon is there as well. So what about oh man, let's do a ultimate, man. This is her ultimate, and it's beautiful. Alright, just stay away from Gordon. Gordon is not really your friend. Alright, so yeah, so that's it. Just stay far, and the you know, that is very comfortable range versus Spider-Man clone. Okay, so just reapply, and yeah, that's it. Pretty relaxing when you play Scarlet Witch. Very relaxing, and again, full of loots. I'm still farming for the Spider-Man Cosmic Medallion, but guess what? It never dropped, right? So yeah, okay. So now go back to the training room, talk about the gear and so on. Welcome back to the training room. So this part of the video is about the gear, the Omega system, and so on. Alright, so I hope you have enjoyed seeing what Scarlet Witch plays like in the real situation. And when it comes to gear wise, she has a lot of options when it comes to artifacts. So Metasensory is something that I enjoy having, especially if you haven't reached the rank 50 for the main spender on some of the more powerful stuff, then you may consider to have this guy here. And another one is the Amulet of Agamotto. Also add one rank to all power. So this is also a very nice artifact for all the heroes. All the mental heroes, and it's quite easy to get as well. Just store some of the high rolls one for your future use. That is quite nice. And the you know, if you have Germ of the Curse, then you want to use Germ of the Curse instead of this one here, because it gives you the brutal, give you, you know, other things as well. And if you have Hand of Doom, you may consider. Now this one is very nice. This one is actually something that I got it without really farming it. I was just like doing some of the share quests, and then boom, it drops. And guess what? I have 3 so far. So there are only 3 mental heroes I like, and I think there are only 3 anyway. Yeah, I mean the pure mental. Except Loki, of course. So yeah, I mean, I've got one for Scarlet Witch, one for Emma Frost, and then one for Psylocke. I'm a happy man, right? I'm a happy man. So if you have this one, use this one. If not, you can use Hand of Doom and any other artifacts that you feel is really strong, like those you get it from Industrial City Patrol or even in the Ultron mode, okay? When it comes to Medallion, there are a couple of options as well. I enjoy something that has both the normal damage and the crit component to it, as well as health, brutal. These are very good stats because you know, when some of you ask me how do I get some of this very high big number that proc up that comes up, the answer is that the number is determined by a couple of things. So one thing is of course your normal damage. Then after that, how much rank you have on that power to sort of like scale up that normal damage. And of course the last thing is all the crit damage rating, brutal damage rating, the crit and brutal as well, that multiply with the normal damage. So that gives you the big number. So I prefer something like the Mindless Titan to say the Wizard. Wizard is also very good options because they give you a humongous amount of flat damage. But I prefer a little bit on the brutal side, a little bit on the health one as well. All right. When it comes to the relics, then I put the range. You could put crit damage but I mean, you know, my crit damage usually I reserve for the hybrid on melee and range hybrid on, you know, various types. So, you know, so that's why I, you know, she does all range, so I give it to her. In terms of rune words, you have a couple of options. So this is not bad for mental damage. You may not need the spirit. I don't think mine need the spirit, but you know, 400 mental damage is not bad. And but the cost is quite high as well. Another option, of course, is the God of Mischief that give you quite a lot of like goodies, and the one that give you crit as well. That one is nice as well. So yeah, I mean there are a couple of options. Yeah. When it comes to legendary, the Warlock Eyes Grade 70 is very similar to the Grade 70 Gungnir, but Gungnir is still better by 1%. So up to you. I made this decision long time ago, and since it doesn't really affect DPS that much, I stick with what I have, and it does give you a kind of like spirit buff as well, but I don't think my Scarlet Witch would require the spirit. All right, but yeah, I mean something for you to consider. But if you would like to pick the Gungnir, you can put the Gungnir as well. And in terms of grade 80 is always the Warlock Eyes. Now the Warlock Eyes grade 80 and the Warlock Eyes grade 70, the difference is 10%. So just give you some idea about it. All right, so grade 80 Warlock Eyes, grade 70 Gungnir or Warlock Eyes, whichever you feel more comfortable with. When it comes to ring, you know, if you can afford to have one of these very nice industrial city ring, use it. I love my Scarlet Witch, and yeah, I mean, you know, otherwise you pick something that gives her a little bit of health, a little bit of crit, a little bit of you know, all the generic items that you know what to do. All right. In terms of unique, you know, there are still some rooms or improvement for me. Those are not the max roll yet. I'm quite happy with her recent unique design. These are some of the power that, you know, the ranks are pretty nice as well. I found it pretty hard during the you know, Midtown Manhattan Monday Madness. And after that, on the slot one, there you have two options: either the Evil Mutant's Glove, which is more for disruption, or the other one, which is the Chaos one, which is for this one is for the Chaos build. It buffs the decimation. All right, so remember you can swap around and do so. And when it comes to the costume, just the crit damage rating is good enough. You don't really need the health there. So I just have one gear, and that is that's all I need. And now make sure you have the 25 and 100 spirit when you use you know, med kit. That is very useful. Okay, and it comes to the insignia, I would prefer something that actually this is quite a nice insignia. It gives me the crit damage rating as well as the crit hit rating. Both I really need. All right. If you look at my crit, it's not that fantastic. I mean, without all the procs, the mental is only about 53.7, so it's all right. Crit damage rating is about 268, so it's not even 300. So yeah, I mean, you know, I'm still working towards some of these items. Brutal is 53.4, and the brutal damage rating is about 470. So, you know, any bit of the crit damage rating helps for my Scarlet Witch. All right. So, yeah, I mean, if you use Gungnir, you'll see a much bigger number here, of course. All right. So, on the pet wise, it's about all these things here. All right. So that is all the talk about the gear. So the next bit is about the Omega system. In terms of Omega system, I've tried something different this time. I use Legion. Now, Legion is a very interesting. Maybe I should just jump to Legion, just talk a little bit about that, because I think that's a more interesting note that I've not really fully explored until now. So now Legion has a lot of procs there. It has tons of procs there. And after that, you have this you know, signature for Scarlet Witch that make reality that will guarantee 10 procs effect to 100%. So if you look at the description there, somewhere in the middle, so that it will proc 10 of the procs will comes out. So now, which of the 10 we don't know, but it will eventually proc some of these you know, Legion stuff here. So what it really looked like something like this. When you hit it, then you have some of these things like block chance increase, strength and durability, special item found. I do not know if there are more or not. I hope there are more, but these days I only see this few. Now all these things are rubbish to me. But yeah, I mean, that's how the Legion works. And I hope it's because the window is not big enough. It's not like, that's all that I can proc. Right. So in terms of Omega points, I researched all the way to this Phoenix Force. You could consider this psionic Overload, because Scarlet Witch has a really nice health regen as well. So you may be able to sustain. You can test it yourself and let me know whether you could sustain without having to invest this one, because this is also a very viable node and it's very cheap as well. And doesn't really cost a lot. Okay, and then after that, 13 points on the crit and brutal, because I probably need it for my Scarlet Witch, and then 5 points on the guild suppression for a little bit of brutal. I need the crit for mental, so just a little bit. I mean, these are just very tiny anyway. Then after that, I move on to this tree. I put 7 points here. That's all I can afford. I can't really afford more. 10 points on spin tap, and that's it. And a little bit of health gen and health, because this day I value health quite a fair bit. Cosmic Gate. All right, so that's all I can talk about in terms of the gear of the so-called Omega point. I want to try the Unmake Reality one more time. So now I use the other one, all right, the other glove, and I proc, what do I proc? Block chance, strength. Yeah, it's the same thing. So I do not know whether there are something missing here, or these are the only thing they can proc. So let me know. All right. Last bit about hero synergy. Nothing really fantastic to talk about. Pick anything that's mental crit and stuff like that. And yeah, there's nothing really different when it comes to all this what I pick here. All right, so I hope you found this video useful, and do let me know how you feel about your Scarlet Witch. Which one of the two build do you prefer and why? I'm very interested to know. Leave me a comment below, and as always, I have all these like other guides as well. Check out the description. There's a link there. You can find more guides there, and you can contact me in game as well. Happy to play with you when I can, when my chat is not closed like now. Okay, see you. Bye.